Welcome to the weekly outlook. Bern here from EWPRO. So this week, I'm going to start with Bitcoin. So we got a nice move up in Bitcoin. So we're looking at this as a correction, just a wave wide down. Then we're looking for as the X2 and then possibly go up and break this top. But this was, when we had this in here, this was looking very corrective for that buy. But I sort of wasn't looking for it to go and break that top, but now it's looking very impulsive. So last week I said, if you trade this instrument, don't miss this. We're in here somewhere. This was our first target, and it's come up and hit the second target already. So we're still in this wave Y. It's come and hit the second target already in the wave Y. So now we're looking for that X2 and then the Z up. This wave Y may not be over. And you still can look for buys. But eventually we're going to get this X2 and then the Z up. So if we have a look on the H1, so last week we're in here somewhere, and we already taken out that bear possible bear hidden. There was no bear hidden on this pair because the top was broken. So I said, you know, if you do trade this instrument, definitely, you know, this is something you don't want to miss. And we got that really nice move up. Now we have a flat in here. So we have a flat, running flat. I can take that off. So any buy setup you get, you can take. We will get bearish divergence, but this can still go higher. You know, if you do get any bullish setup, look for the buy. Why this trend line here holds. While this trend line here holds, you can look for buys. Your next target will be that 200 fib. So this will be your next target here, that 200 fib. And once this wave Y is over, then you'll have to be careful, because you'll more than likely get a large corrections similar size to this, you know. Yeah, but I thought I'd start with that this week. All those that trade the Bitcoin, you know, you've done really well. You would have had a really good week. Going on to DXY on the daily, like I said last week, we can be coming to an end of a structure on the daily time frames. We got the 5 down, looking at that as an A, B, C. Still hasn't broken this top and still hasn't got to this 38.2. So there still is potential more upside. We haven't crossed down on the MACD, so we're still in this wave C on the daily. Looking at the H4, we're looking for this. We got the 5 up. Looking at this as an A, B, C, for another 5 up, possibly up to that 38.2. Very risky. You have to wait for a really nice buy setup to buy this, because we do have that lower low. So you really want a really nice buy setup to buy. On the H1, we have the possible bear hidden with no bullish divergence. So that's why you really need a nice buy to trade this, to buy it. It is giving it's more of a correction. It's more of a correction, not a flag. But you could go down onto the lower time frames and you know, put a buy stop just above there against this point, low against the low, and you might get another one up here, possibly bouncing off the trend line and then giving you that bear hidden play out. But yeah, you could look to take this on the lower time frames and get it to break even, and you never know, you know, you might get those another 5 up to that 38.2 on the daily. Looking at the AU, so we got 3 up with bearish divergence. Now we're getting this larger correction in here. Like I've been saying, this here, we're still in this wave Y. We're still in this WXY. This can come down to this 161.8, like I've been saying. But as soon as this wave Y is over, we're looking for that X2 and then a Z down on the daily. This is looking very corrective. We've got that WXY, X2, and then the Z down. This here is still looking very corrective. So on the H1 last week, we had that possible bear hidden here last week. So we're looking at that WX2, X, Y, an X2, and then a Z down. It never gave us that Z down. This low wasn't broken. So now we're getting a larger correction in here. So this can be the A, B, C, and then we come and break the low from here as a larger correction. So this may not be over the downside. This is looking very corrective. I think you can all see that. It's still, it's not really valid as an X2. You know, we got a correction there. This is a little bit too large, but it's still okay for that Z down. And we will be using those targets. See, I was using these targets last week for the sell. So these will be your targets still. The 123.6 and the 161.8. The problem is we have crossed up on this on the H4, but it still, this is looking very corrective. And like I said, you know, we're still within this trend line here. We haven't broken out of that trend line. So while that trend line holds, you can still look for sells. I'd be targeting the 123.6 and the 161.8. EU, sorry. So we got the 3 up with bearish divergence. Now we're getting this larger correction. Haven't got back to the 50 fib here. Ideally, I'd like to see it get back to that 50 fib. The low of wave A has been broken. So this can, like I've been saying for a long time, you know, this can reverse from here. Ideally, we go and break that low, at least the low of wave B, the internal wave B. It still is looking rather bearish in here. We look at the H4. We never come down to these in the wave Z. We never come down to the 123.6 or the 161.8, the targets. This still can be a larger correction though, and we just get WXY, and that ends the move there, and then we get an A, B, C as a flat, a running or expanding flat, and then more downside. And that's sort of the way I'm looking at it, because this in here, I mean, it's so choppy, you know. So I'm sort of am looking at it as a possible flat in here for more downside. But then again, it may be the end of the wave Z. So it's very tricky. We have broken above this top here. So you can really only look for buys until this low's broken, which makes it hard. It's not really something that we can trade because the structure isn't there, you know. If I just remove that, got those 5 down there. But yeah, this can be a larger correction. Just still the wave Z, but and we don't get that wave Z down, sorry, but this is more of a, you can see how choppy this is, you know. It's just so choppy. So we can look at that as the B wave, as an A, B, C, because even this C wave up here, it's, we got a little flat in here, A, B, C, or WXY. So if we look at that, it's very difficult. It's not clear. This is giving more of a sell setup in here, a bearish flag for sell. If you do get that sell, you will have to be careful, because more than likely, well, we already do have that possible bull hidden there. So it's very risky because we got that large correction in here. I mean, we were looking for the buy last week, but it gave the large correction before it actually went. So you will have to be careful trading this. But it is giving a bearish setup in here, but more than likely, it just give you an A, B, C, little A, B, C here in here, and that bull hidden plays out, and it goes and breaks that top to finish off the move, finish off that flat before we get more downside. So you will have to be really careful here. Ideally, if you're looking for the sell, you really want to break below here, then give you the correction, wait for a correction, and then look for the sell. But yeah, you can risk taking this little flag against this top here and getting it to break even, and it may just fall over straight from here. But yeah, something I'd just stay out of myself. GU on the daily. So this one, we broke the top here in a B wave. So I'm looking at it as an A, B, C. This one's broken out. And if you look what I said last week, I said, don't miss this trade. Well, I said, this is one that I will be taking, even though it's risky. It was a little bit risky, the buy, when we get down to the H1, but we got a WXY. This is a larger correction in here, but we got the Z down and we've got the bullish divergence. Broke both our targets here, but going down to the H1, I said last week, we're looking at this WXY. then a possible X2 with the bear hidden, and then this can go and break that low. But I said, you know, this can be the end of wave Z on the H4, and we're in here somewhere. And I said, you know, I will be looking for every buy and will be taking every buy setup, because we already had that bullish divergence on H4. So, you know, this here, it played out. It played out nicely. If you took this, you would have done really well. You should be out of it now because we do have that cross down on the MACD, and more than likely we'll get a larger correction before we get more upside, before that daily plays out, because the top on the daily can get broken now, you know, and we can get up to that 123.6 on the weekly. So now you really have to wait for a correction. Well, we're getting a correction, but you'll have to wait. You can look for the sell, but more than likely it'll only be a C down, and you'll have to get it to break even or even take half off at that 100 fib, wherever that 100 fib is. That's too early to draw it, but we do have, we've taken out that bear hidden now, you know, up in here or here. We've taken out that bear hidden, so we're going to get a correction and then more upside. So look for the upside, but you can scalp the sells too. But the sells will only be scalps. Looking at the NU, we got that bearish divergence on the move up. Looking at that as an A, B, C. This here is still looking corrective for more downside. We still haven't hit that 100 fib. This is very choppy in here. Like I said last week, you can look at that as an A, B, C in here. Then I was looking for that one up, like the A, B, C up in here. It's very choppy, and it's really not much you can do with this. It's not giving a direction. I'm not getting those impulses. That was a wave C. If that was a wave C, end of wave C, we would like it to go and break this top, because we had that, well, there's bear hidden here. It never went and broke the low though. For the buy, you really wanted to see this go and break out of the trend line above this top and then give you the correction to buy. You still can buy this, but it's very messy, because we got well, a W, X, Y, or ABC in here. Not sure if it's lost the divergence. Well, it's lost the divergence. This is very tricky, because you got a trend line here. You really have to wait for it to break out and then give you a correction down in here to sell it, because we already have that bullish divergence on the H4. I'd be just staying out of this until it gives us a clear structure. UY on the daily. So we're looking at this as a B, C in here. It hasn't really come down far enough. It doesn't have to come. I mean, this can be complete, like I said last week. It can be complete. Then when we went down to the H4, we're looking at this like A, B. We're looking for this wave C last week. it has broken below the ending point of wave 8, so it can be finished at any time. Ideally, it keeps on giving more downside down to this, our targets, that 120, that 100 fib. We're only looking for that 100 fib. Looking at the H1, yeah, see, we were looking for this buy up to the 100 fib. Actually went a little bit further, so we can remove all that. We've got this sharp move up in here. We've got 3 down, so we can look at this as a possible running or expanding flat for an A, B, C in here. You know, hopefully getting down to this 100 fib, and then we can all look for the buys, start looking for the buys. At the moment, you know, if you get a little flag in here, you can look for the buy scalp. You'd have to buy above this top here, but buy stop, and you'll just have to get it to break even if you look for that buy, because more than likely it is just an A, B, C for a flat, and then you get more downside. But like I said, on the H4, it has broken the ending point of wave 8, so you can, it may be complete. You'd have to go down to the lower time frames and look for your buy setup, get it to break even. If it does, you know, break through here, well, you know, good chance it's going to go and break that top. But yeah, you'll have to be careful of that flat. I'm still looking for more downside. I think there's still a bit more downside in it, and we get a flat in here for more downside. Looking at the U Sheffy. So this one here, I'm looking for this, like an A, B, C in here. I'm looking for that C up. We've crossed down in here. We can really only look for buys. Why this? We're still in this impulse here. So we really can only look for buys. Again, this can, we know that the B wave can break the low. We know that this, like A, get a B wave and it breaks the low, and then you get a C up for a running or expanding flat before you get more downside. This is turned impulsive. It was looking really corrective for that C up. It's gone further now. It's gone down to that 123.6. I am still looking for a C up though on the H4. The H1, we got this like W, X, Y, X, Z, finishing off the move with bullish divergence. Then we were looking at this A, B, C. We were looking for that C to go up to that 100 fib, but never got up to that 100 fib. But it still broke above. Well, it was more of a double top here for the wave C. Remove that. This here, you know, we're looking at a, if I just draw like a W, X, we're in a wave Y, and we've come down to that 123.6 in the wave Y. So really, we'll be looking for that W, X, Y, wherever this wave Y ends. This wave Y may not be over, and then we'd be looking for an X2 and then a Z down to finish off this B wave. So more than likely this B wave is not over, and we get a larger correction in here. So there's really, it's not giving a buy setup for the X2. Too risky yet. There's no buy. And I really wouldn't, well, you can scalp the sells down to the 123.6. 161.8, sorry. But yeah, it's getting risky. I'll be just leaving this one alone for a while until it gives you that like impulse up. Wherever it gives you that impulse up, then look for the flag or correction to buy in that X2, and then look for the sell again for the Z down. UCAD, this was a nice one last week. This was pretty straightforward. So on the daily, we still haven't broken above this top, and we have that bearish hidden divergence. So like I've been saying, we can go and break this low. We have bounced clean off this weekly 100 fib though. So, you know, and we have broken out of this trend line as well. But there is that possible bear hidden. So definitely can't rule out this bear hidden playing out and breaking that low for the Z down in the extended wave. H4, this one here went a little bit too far. We were looking for that 100 fib. It went past the 100 fib one to the 123.6 in that like A, B, C up in here. Finish off that B wave. We had the bearish divergence here. And we had this last week, you know. This would have been a nice trade. I took this one. So now on the H1, well, last week we were in here somewhere, and we were looking for this a break just for the A, B, C, or it could have kept on going and break the low for the Z down on the daily. But we're at least looking for that C down. We got that C down. Now we have a trend. So while this trend here holds, you can look for sells, but we already have like bullish divergence here. So the sells are risky because we had such a large correction in here. It's more than likely just going to be an A, B, C. Ideally now, you know, for the buy, really want to break above this top, then give you the correction in here for more upside. But like I said, you can look for the sells. It is giving you a little bullish flag here. And you probably could, well, it's not really a flag, but it's more of a correction on the lower time frames. But you could, you know, buy a stop just above there on the lower time frames, and if you get triggered, you know, this will be your stop loss, and it may go from here. And then once it breaks this top here, you may be able to, you know, look for the larger correction and add. Yeah, GY on the daily. So we've got a W, we've got a large correction in here, and then we've got the wave Y up. Like I was showing last week, we can look at this here as a B, C in here, and then get that Z up. That's what we're pretty much looking for on the daily. We're looking for that Z up. But when we go down to the H4, this still may not be over. We have that bear hidden here. like I said last week, you know, for the buy, we really want to break above this top and then give you the correction for the buy. You know, then we can call that wave C over, and we don't get this flat, possible flat like I'm looking at here. We got that large, you know, A, B, C in here. That's why I have to look at it as an A, B, C in here for a B wave, and then we get a C down. Unfortunately, it still hasn't broken above this top. It's very close. It's very close, but we still have bear hidden. It hadn't broken above this top. Ideally, I'd like to see it break above that top before we look for the buy. Because like we've seen here, you know, we had that bearish hidden here, and it went down and broke the low. Again, we had bearish hidden here. It went and broke the low. Now we have bearish hidden again. You know, it can go and break that low. So you have to be very careful on the H1. So we've got one up. Then we get A, B. This may be a flat in here for more upside. So you want it to break out. You know, if you're looking for the buy, you want it to break out. If you're looking for the buy, you want to break out above that top, give you a little flag or correction, and then you can look for the buy. At the moment, it's giving a sell. You know, we've broken this trend line here, and you're getting a little bearish flag in here, so you can look for that sell as well, because this may be that flat, and that's the end of wave B, and we get the wave C down from here. I'll have to adjust those fibs because we were looking for that C down last week. So we still can't rule out this. Until that bear hidden gets taken out, well, we can't really rule it out. So you can look for that sell there, or you can wait for a buy setup. There's no buy setup on it at the moment. EG on the daily. So we're looking for that W, X, Y, X2, and then a Z down last week. And this as a contracting flat. Very risky. Like I said, you know, it's a contracting flat, so it can be, you know, can turn into a lot of different structures. Problem with contracting flats is we're still within this wave. We're still within this impulse. So this can be like an A, B, C, well, an A, B, C. Then you get that like A, B, C, and then go up. So contracting flats are very difficult. We never broke this way. We still haven't broken this low here in this wave coming down. Ideally, it comes down to our targets like the 123.6 and the 161.8, and then give us that bullish divergence on the daily, and then we can all look for the buy. When we have these corrections like this, these contracting flats, it makes it very difficult. So we have bullish divergence on the day on the H1. We had a little contracting flat in there. We've broken that low. It's very difficult. I mean, you can look for the buy and you can look for the sell. Myself, I'll be staying out of it. It's just not clear at this stage. There's better things to trade. Looking at the EY, this one here on the daily, looking for this A, B, C. We got the bearish divergence in the larger A, B, C. It went up to the 123.6. So we're looking for that like well, we're looking for a larger correction like similar size to this. So we're looking for some sort of an A, B, C before we get more upside. Looking at the H4, we're looking at this. We're looking for this C up last week. It's very slow, this pair. Got a nice impulse up here. Looking at an A, B, C in here before we get that A, B, C up to this 100 pip. We were looking for the 100 pip last week. The buy, very slow. Now you're going to have to be very careful because we got the correction. Got like an A, B, C. It's broken the top and it's given us bearish divergence. So you really can't look for that. Very risky to be buying. There's no real sell setup on it either at this stage. We just put this in here. So we only got an A, B, C in here. If this was the end of wave C, we should have fallen out underneath the trend line and given us a correction or a flag in here for the sell. Instead, we still haven't. We still within the trend line, so this may be a little flat in here for another one up to finish off that move. Me personally, I'll be staying out of it. It's still not clear. It's not giving us a buy or a sell. I mean, if you're looking for the buy, you could, put a buy stop there, and if it triggers you, we'll use this as your stop loss, and you'll be targeting that 100 fib. Very risky trade because we already have the bearish divergence. Looking at the gold on the daily, not much has changed on the daily, except for we're getting this, starting to get this correction. Don't really want this to cross up the MACD because we're looking at this as possible bear hidden here, to give us that Z down. These are your targets for the Z down on the daily, but we're getting a large correction in here. Like I said last week, this was very choppy. So we're looking for this as the A wave, and then an A, possible B, and then a C up. This invalidation point was from, this trade selling over here. So I can remove that anyway. So it looks like that's what we're getting. We're getting like an A, B, C, finish off the B wave, and then get a larger A, B, C. Looking at the H1, we haven't broken that top. It hasn't broken that top, unfortunately. Still may. Yeah, so we got a large correction. This is tricky because this can be like an A, B, and then a C up as a large flat in here for an A, B, C. Unfortunately, it didn't break that top. Would have been nice if it broke that top, and then we can have all looked for the cells. But now it's very difficult because we got that W, X, Y, probably get an X2, and then a Z up because we have that ball hidden already. So you can't sell this until that low has been broken because there's that possible ball hidden. And it's not giving a buy setup either. So more than likely you give another one up here and then another one down. And then give you the buy setup. If it gives you the buy setup for some sort of a head and shoulder, you can look for that buy. At this stage, it's not giving a buy, and I really wouldn't be selling until this low here gets broken because this top here hasn't been broken. So you can't really, this is so corrective, and we've just got one up here. You have to wait for the correction and then a break at the top before you can look for the sell until that low here gets broken. Looking at WTI, so we were looking for this wave C down for ages. It come down and it bounced off that 100 pip, and now we got a nice impulse going up. So I'm looking for this top to be broken. Again, when we have a look at nothing's changed since last week on the H4. We still have that possible bear hidden. So this can be a WXY, X2, and then a Z down to finish off that wave C. There's some sort of an ending diagonal or however you want to look at it, but we still haven't broken above that top. And we have that bear hidden. So you have to be very careful buying. If you miss the buy down here, well, you don't want to be buying up here. You have to wait for this to break above there, taking out that bull hidden, then wait for the correction, and then you can look for the buy. You don't want to be buying up here. On the H1, we already have bearish divergence. So we have an A, a B, and we got a C up with bearish divergence. I'll be more inclined to sell this for that bear hidden, go and break this low. It's not giving us a bearish setup yet, and you really need to wait for that bearish setup. We have a trend line. We have broken out of this trend line. So really, for the sell, you want it to break down under this trend line, give you a sell, set up a flag or a correction in here, and then look for that sell. You want to wait for a nice sell setup to sell it. I'd be only selling it because we have that possible bear hidden on the H4 and we have the bearish divergence on the H1. So it's very risky to be buying if you didn't get into this or some sort of a trade down here. Bitcoin I've gone over. SPX on the daily, we got this A, B, C. We still haven't hit that 100 pip. We got all this bearish divergence on the daily, so not much has changed. We can get up to that 100 pip, but slowly crawling up there. So H4, we had the A, B, C, and then we're looking for another 5 up. This, we had an expanding flat in here. I was actually thinking this may have been the end of the move because we had that bearish divergence in here. bearish divergence and then a nice move down. Instead, it turned into that expanding flat. And we were looking for the buy last week. So I said, I think we're in here somewhere last week. I think we'd just broken that top. So I said, really now, if you didn't get into a trade down here, I said, you know, you really have to wait for a correction. And that's what we got this week. We got an A, B, C as a running flat here, a possible running flat before you get that A, B, C. So you wouldn't have really got a trade on this last week, but you might get one this in the coming week. You could put, the safest option is to put a buy stop just above the top. If you get triggered, use this as your stop loss, and you know you'd be looking at that A, B, C, and you know it can possibly get up to that 100 fib. But just put the so your 100 fibs right up here at the top of that trend line, top trend line. Yeah, so that's something you could look at this week to buy this. Aim for that 100 fib. Once this top gets broken, you can draw your trend line, and you know, if your trend line gets broken, well, you know, look to take profit because you are at a top. You know, this can fall over at any time. AU 200. We're looking for that flat on the daily. We're getting all this bearish divergence. So we are coming to an end before we get a larger correction, a daily correction. We're looking at this ABC, looking for this A, B, C. Now this spike up here, it's only on an IDA. It's not on my platform. So this top has been broken. This is a false break, false spike. So we're looking for that buy last week. Again, yeah, I said if you didn't get into the buy, I got into the buy down here somewhere. But I said last week, you know, we're already broken the top. You have to wait for a correction. Well, now we've got a correction. We've got an A, B, C in here, a possible A, B, C in here. So you really only want to be looking for the buys. Again, like the S&P, you can put a buy stop just above there. That's the safest way, and use that as your stop loss. And you know you're looking at that flat A, B, C, very similar to SPX. Looking at the DAX on the daily, we've got the bearish divergence. Getting all this bearish divergence. Still haven't got to that 100 fib yet. This here, it's starting to look clearer now because we've got that A, B, C. This is looking very bullish. So you can look for that buy. You can see here, this is pretty much textbook stuff. You know, it is a contracting flat, which makes it difficult. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't really like about it. But you got a nice impulse up, and then you got this A, B, C in here. So again, you can put a buy stop just above that top there. If it triggers you, use this as your stop loss. Because it's a contracting flat, it makes it a little bit more difficult. I'd rather be going for one of these other two, because they don't have that contracting flat. But yeah, if you trade this pair, you know, you can put that buy stop, or you could look for a little flag in here to buy, getting it to break even just in case, because it is a contracting flat, so you will have to be a little bit more careful. Looking at the footsie, again, this one here, a little bit different because we're looking at this as a flat. I'd really like to see this give us that C down. It's giving a C down, and we do have the cross. So the problem is, it never come anywhere near that 100 bib. Definitely looking at that as a B wave because, you know, of how choppy it is. But is that the end of wave C? You know, it didn't really give us a nice move, a big enough move down, you know, like this. So I said last week, you know, pretty much stay out of it. It's not clear. We got that A, B, C, A, B, C. So we could start looking for that bite, but very risky. On the H1, it's not really giving nice corrections. I mean, these are hard to trade, right? You're looking at that coming down, and then if you're putting a buy stop above the top, you know, it's a lot of risk for an A, B, C. We already have the bearish divergence here, you know. So, man, like the S&P and the AU 200 are looking bullish. You know, this is more than likely will go up with those, with the other indices, but it's already got bearish divergence, so it's very tricky. I think this one on the H4, yeah, see, this one on the H4 as well, it's got bearish hidden divergence as well. So you really want a break above this top here and then give you the correction to safely buy it. You still have that possible bear hidden. And like I said, on the H1, we have the bearish divergence. You know, you can actually look for the sell on this one. You know, if it, you know, really you want to break out of the trend line and give you a correction or a flag and then look for the sell. But yeah, I'd be staying out of it and looking at the SPX and the AU 200. They look a bit better corrections than the DAX and the FTSE. So I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.